Hey, if you are learning Dutch seriously, then this video, this masterclass is going to save you a lot of time, money, and frustration because it will show you how the process works from where you are now to total Dutch fluency. Okay, it's one masterclass divided in a couple of videos. If you have any questions about it, you can ask me and then just join my free community and I will help you there. Bye-bye.
So let's go to the systemization. Foundation, natural method. And then let's go to the systemization. How can we start building a system? Oh, this is very bright. Is it okay for you?
Yeah.
Systemization, principles, and the smart setup. First, let's look at 3 principles that we need to follow in our system. The first one is time. Time. The second one is use compelling comprehensible input. And the third one is the 80-20 rule. And you can definitely make notes if you want. But why time? That's because time is the most important indicator of your progress. I say this in every masterclass. Meaning that if you put more hours into Dutch, your Dutch will improve. Even if you use a bad method, your Dutch will still improve, just slowly. So that's why the time is the most important thing. Just like I said with reading, the reason that reading is better than listening for learning words is because you see more words in the same time, right? So it's time efficient. So that's also time. The second one, maybe. And then the third one is the total amount of hours will also determine your language level, more or less. So later we're going to check all of your levels and where you need to go and put a certain amount of hours in there. And if you put those hours in your calendar and then actually do Dutch in those hours, then you get to the next level, right? So we'll use time as a first principle. Second one is use compelling comprehensible input. And that's actually what we already just looked at. Input means you read and listen, right? And it needs to be interesting stuff. So you pay attention. That's why it's called compelling. And it needs to be at your level. So it needs to be comprehensible. So that's, for example, why children books won't work in the beginning, but stuff that is especially made for learners will work. Right? So the dialogues of a textbook are good, but if you start reading the newspaper at this level, that's not good, right? That's comprehensible. So we use compelling comprehensible input for the right amount of time, but that's only 80% of the system. The other 20%, that is the 80-20 rule, will be output. So speaking and writing. And the 80-20 rule, we can use it for multiple things. And I can answer most of your questions with 80-20 rule. So for example, if you say, what about grammar? I like grammar, it helps me. Then that's great. It can definitely help, especially to give you a feeling of understanding the language. And that's also worth something. Then my answer would be do that 20% of the time. Definitely not more. And do 80% of the time the compelling comprehensible input. Right?
Okay.
Or for example, what is the perfect balance between speaking and input? That is 20-80. Or if you really enjoy doing very difficult stuff, like journaling, then do that for 20% of the time and 80% of other stuff. Like that, you can keep going. That's the 80-20 rule. And following all of this stuff, look, here is the simple system I promised you. I'm very proud of these symbols. I hope you like it as much as I do. So you see, number one is you read interesting, comprehensible content. So you can, for example, take my book. So if you like it, then that works. If you don't like it, you can take another book at the same level. So you read it, right? And you also listen to it many times. It would be great if you do it at the same time. You don't have to. Then you speak about it. And Also here in the speaking, I put speaking because most of you only want to learn how to speak and are not very interested in writing. However, if you want to also learn how to write, then that's also here. You write about it. And then you increase the level of the content and you repeat it. So like that, you will encounter more words that you will read, listen, and use. And because you're learning more words, you're also getting better. So this is all you need to learn Dutch. Bye, everyone. It was great today. Ciao. Uh, this will be then 80%. In case you only want to do it can be 100%. Okay. So this can be 100%. It is for me, for example, in Persian, I only do this. Maybe I do 1% of writing because I like the script. But for me, this is 99%. But let's say that you want to do other stuff and you enjoy it. I mean, why not? Let's answer that with the 80-20 rule. Please do this for 80%. And then 20% you do whatever you like. Maybe you enjoy Duolingo, then yeah, don't stop doing Duolingo if you like it. But just know that it won't give you the big benefit that the other stuff will give you. If you, for example, like to follow a Dutch recipe to learn, right, a little bit, you can count it as reading, or you can try and make a recipe yourself. If you enjoy doing it, great. Why not, right? If you enjoy listening to Dutch music, that is also great. If you enjoy grammar or you're an engineer and you like to analyze stuff, go ahead. So let's use this and make this system now useful for you, right? So take my hand, I put here. I'd like to do it with all of you together. And the idea is to let's learn Dutch like the Neanderthal people did together. You start with the free course, the smart setup. So that's what we're going to do now. And you'll also find much more free stuff. And I'm going to keep adding things. And then later, when the new book comes, I will make that a paid course, right? So that's why I'll just give everything for free. And then whoever wants to do the paid course, I hope that you do it. And if you don't, it's also okay. So that's my system, kind of. So let's go to the classroom. Start here. Where are you now? So we're going to set up your Dutch smart for like a successful journey. That's the idea. So let's check first your level. And Dajan and Tolga, this is the moment maybe where you can also like do something because it's an important moment.
Yeah.
Welcome back. So first we need to know where you are now. Hey, Dajan.
Hey.
My first student. Okay, so let's do the level test. Let's check where are you. Nobody is here. And I have a longer test also here. So whenever you join in the community, you can do like the full test. But now we're just going to check more or less. Nobody is here, so let's level one. Do you feel this, Morak? So you can say you're learning Dutch. You can use about 500 words. Does that sound about right?
Maybe a little more.
Okay. And who can do this? You can ask and answer basic questions about personal topics.
Ja, ik kan dat doen.
Yeah, right?
Ja.
Dus hoe heet je? Waar kom je vandaan? Hoe oud ben je? Yeah? All that stuff is A1.
Ja.
You can communicate basic needs like ik wil bier. Ik wil pizza. Etc. You start to realize at this point that Dutch is very similar to English, but you struggle when pronouncing certain words or sounds.
Not so much because Scots and Dutch actually have similar pronunciation, so the is no problem.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, great. But it still sounds pretty strange to you, maybe, when we speak?
Yeah.
And it's normal Dutch sounds fast to you.
Definitely.
Yeah, right. So you're maybe going from A1 to A2. So some of you are here, like Alexandra, maybe this sounds nice. You can understand about 1,500 words.
Yeah.
And now you can.
Yes. It sounds a lot actually, but I don't know how many words I know.
Well, that's hard to check now. But you can check by reading. So if you understand the whole book without any trouble, just miss a few words, then you know 1,500 words.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I've read your book, yeah, so until that
Yeah,
is
then this is the minimum, yeah.
yeah.
And you can ask and answer basic questions about familiar topics.
Yeah.
Have simple conversation with somebody who speaks slowly and clearly.
Yes.
You can pronounce all sounds in an understandable way.
Yeah, still some issues with some pronunciation of vowels, but yeah.
Right. But it doesn't have to be perfect, but understandable.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, you understand much more than you can say. That's at every level.
yeah,
That's the thing I hear from every student. Yes, but Max, I understand much more than I can say. That's true, and it's completely normal at every
yeah.
level.
Frustrating in a way, yeah.
And it's so annoying, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, you need help. You feel slow and dumb when you're speaking Dutch. Dutch no longer sounds foreign. It sounds like something you know,
yeah,
but normal spoken Dutch still sounds fast to you.
yes.
I see people going like, yeah. You as well, Douglas, you have the same or no? You're unmuted, huh?
Ja, ik ook.
Ik ook, okay. And I think this is important, by the way, for the system to have a vague idea of the levels. It's really helpful because it will save you a lot of frustration. And that was one of my promises, to save you frustration. Okay, so most of you are like here, and you're getting here, and here is where tall guy is definitely, and Dajan is here in the beginning. So you can say you speak Dutch, about 3,000 words. You can have long one-on-one conversations about familiar topics. You can speak about almost anything, but you're slow. Sounds about right, Dajan, or no?
Not for me. I
Really,
can
but
understand more of reading than speaking, I would say.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Then this is a good test if you're B1. You understand the gist of films, fast conversations, and podcasts. So when you watch any film in Dutch, you understand the story, at least the general story.
Mhm.
Not the
Sure.
conversations, not the jokes.
Depending on the topic, yeah, that's true.
Okay. And same goes for fast conversations that you're like following kind of what the topic is, but it's too fast and you're going like this when Dutch people speak.
Yeah.
That's B1. And you cannot keep up in group conversations and you feel like you will never leave this stage.
Yes.
Yeah, right? And the reason, I'll show you later the reason also, but just to give you a heads up, it's the time, right? Because going to A2 takes 150 hours and going to B1 takes 300 hours. So it takes the same time. So the whole time you need from 0 to A2, you need the same time again from A2 to B1. So it feels twice as long because it is. Just an example of what you can do here. If somebody explains, if somebody asks you about the film, right? What film did you see yesterday? What was it about? You can say something like this. I saw a film called The Godfather. It's about the mafia. I really loved it. The film starts at a beautiful wedding. Stuff like that you can say. But you're slow, yeah? And then the big step from here to here. That is going to be the big step for all of you. This is the goal for most people. It's the fluent or professional user. You can say, so you speak Dutch well, you know, 6,000 words. You can have group conversations. You are able to have professional conversations like meetings and job interviews. You can understand and speak about familiar and unfamiliar topics. You can understand and make jokes. You can understand 80% of all this stuff. But you still have difficulty understanding particular people or accents. You feel frustrated when you don't understand something. Who was the B1 or Tolga? I think you're the closest to B2.
Yeah, maybe close, but not there. for sure.
Not there yet. I mean, also the beginning of B2 and the end of B2, it's a long time also. Huh? It's like a spectrum. And lastly, you feel your Dutch is not improving anymore. Just like here, you also feel that. But here, it's actually true for most people. So most people don't break through this intermediate barrier to the advanced. And the reason is because they don't read. Right. So whenever I have like a conversation with someone and I check their level, blah, 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 and they ask me, and they're already B2, the first question I asked, I had it yesterday even, is like, what books did you read in Dutch? And most people say no books, right? Or maybe a children book and videos, and they followed courses and they did grammar exercises and they got really far. But to go from B2 to C1, you need so many specific words that you won't find them in normal conversations. So you need books. And reading a book is quite difficult, right, in Dutch. So most people never do that. But if you do, let's just quickly go about it. You double your words again, right? So it goes from 6,000 to 12,000. And you go from 80% of understanding to 98% of understanding. 90% of what people say, even when they speak with a strong accent. And the difference is here, you can speak, look, you can understand and speak about familiar and unfamiliar topics, but here you can actually say it in a smart way. Right? So you can speak in a nuanced and eloquent manner. Right? And you only encounter new words when reading or in very colloquial conversations, like new expressions, stuff like that. You feel your Dutch is at the highest level it can be, and that's true for most people again, because the next level is fully proficient. That's when you're a teacher, a translator, or an intellectual. And then your Dutch is better than most Dutch people's Dutch. Right? Even though you might have an accent, you'll know more words, you'll write better texts, stuff like that, right? And the difference is quite interesting. From 98%, you go to 99%. So it's only a 1% difference. Do you get why?
Because it's mainstream, usually. 98 is just mainstream. And 1% is just the marginal differences, I think.
Exactly. It's those words in the margins that you'll never encounter normally. So, for example, if you start reading Shakespeare in English, then you'll encounter the 1% of words that you won't see in a normal English life, right? So that will give this 1% boost. So, do you know where you are now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, check. Have you written it down somewhere? Please write it down somewhere, like one simple system, and then where I am now, or across, or whatever. So, Tolga, for you can say like you're like B1 3.0 or something.
Okay.
And then the next step will be B2.
Okay.
I think that's true for you. Okay, so let's go to the destination. So we have the starting point. Now we need a destination. Then we need a map and a roadmap. And then we need to start packing. And then we need to actually travel. So here's the same levels again, but like in a shorter way and in a different way. But most of you want to get here. So write down for yourself, would you like to get here like B2? Or is B1 already enough for you? Or are you one of the C1, C2 people? Right? And to make it like less of a big of a goal, you can also just write down the next level for now is also okay. And since we're only with 5 people, 6, where do you want to go? I'm very interested. You, Alexandra, for example?
Yeah, my goal is B2.
Mhm.
I would like to have uh, a Dutch that allow me to work here in Dutch.
Okay, the B2 is enough. Yeah, great. And you, Victoria, Morak?
Oh yeah, same B2.
B2.
Short-term goal B2 and longer-term C1. So I work with a lot of Dutch companies. I'd like to be able to read the technical reports and things that they put in Dutch. But initially, just to be able to talk with Dutch colleagues and understand and join in conversations.
Great. Okay, that's clear goal. Yeah. And you, Dajan Tolga?
For me, I guess B2 plus maybe.
Mhm. Nice. I like the plus. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me also in short term, if I can B2, maybe next year, that would be nice. But in long term, I also really want to achieve a C1.
Mhm.
But then, I mean, we can feel like we are integrating fully. We can having conversations and jokes with our neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah, like in a good B2 level is definitely already enough for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Douglas?
Yeah,
Victoria?
B1 or B or more, but B1 to start, so that I can
Mhm.
communicate with my family in Dutch when I'm with them.
Right. Nice. And you, Victoria? Is it Victoria? Victorija?
Victoria, yeah. It's B2.
B2. Yeah. I already said it, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, check. So now we have your destination. Now let's go to the next step, which is the timeline. How long will it take? So now you know where you are and where you are going. Let's check how much time you need to get to your destination. So from A0 to A1 is 50, A2 is 150, and B1 is total time is 300.
Okay.
B2 total time is 600 hours to be at the beginning of B1, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here you're at the beginning of the level. So you can have your first group conversations after 600 hours, more or less. So meaning that if you are now A2, for example, to go from A2 to B2, that's 450 hours, right? So could you please write down like where you are, where you're going, and then how much time it takes from the one to the other, right?
Yeah.
Of course. So Douglas, you are here, 150, but probably you're even more, but let's take 150. So after 150 hours, you'll be definitely B1.
Okay, good.
Much more in my opinion, but after 150 for sure, yeah. And for you, Tolga, after 300 hours, you're B1 for sure. But
Yeah.
let's say 100 for you.
Okay. If I study 1 hour every day, then in 3 months.
Yeah. It's quite fast. Okay. Disclaimer, these numbers are estimates, right? So you might be a bit faster, of course. If you think you are bad with languages, then stop using it as an excuse. Just add 10%, please. Just add 10%, then you will be there for sure. Your learning speed depends on your intelligence, reading skills, your memory, the languages you already speak. But in my experience, these numbers are pretty accurate. For myself, they were accurate in other languages. And also for my students, they are very accurate, especially Dajan with you, right?
Yeah.
Because Dajan, we did so many hours and you never did anything outside the class. So we had like the perfect measurement, you know? And it was very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to be a great example for you.
Yeah.
The reference.
Yeah.
The perfect example. Yeah. And just before, later we'll look at that even better, but let's revisit this. When does an hour count as an hour, right? So time spent doing something in comprehensible Dutch counts. So this principle 2, comprehensible input, that's what's used here. So in other words, if you do something in Dutch and you understand what's going on, then it counts. So an example, having a conversation, watching a video, listening to a song, only if you understand the text. Writing a text in Dutch, reading a page, listening to an audiobook. Right? Here's some stuff that doesn't count. Watching a Dutch series if you have no idea what it's about, right? So if you can't follow the story, like you really don't know what's happening, it doesn't count because it needs to be comprehensible input. Then watching a Dutch series with English subtitles is better than nothing, definitely. So I don't recommend stop not to do it, but it's not enough to count as a full hour of Dutch. So what I did in Persian is sometimes I counted it as half an hour, but I have no idea if that's correct or not. But I wanted to count it because I felt good doing it, right? But if you do this for 600 hours, watching Dutch series with English subtitles, you will not be B2, right?
Okay.
So listening to the Dutch radio, if you're still a beginner, doesn't count. Listening to your colleagues having a discussion when you only understand a few words, all of that stuff, it doesn't count because it's not comprehensible, right? Or reading about Dutch grammar in English also doesn't count, even though it might help for other stuff. It doesn't count for the hours. So this masterclass doesn't count.
No.
Sorry, eh? Quickly, where do I get these numbers? It's from the Foreign Language Institute of the United States. So they wanted to know how many classroom hours it would take for a diplomat to be able to get to the right level, to be able to work in a new country. So they have tested it thoroughly. It's not my numbers, right? And by the way, I'm keeping track of every number and seeing if, of every hour, sorry. See if I know Persian after 1,100 hours. At 1,100. So Dutch is level 1, 600 hours. So it's considered an easy language.
Really?
For English speakers.
For English speakers, yeah. But we count as English speakers, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tolga, you count. So yeah. Okay, so now you know how long it's going to take you, right?
Yep.
Then what you can use that I will give to you later is this time tracker. I was all day today trying to fix it because it was broken. You see the time tracker, right?
You didn't use AI to fix it?
Sorry?
You didn't use AI to fix it?
And yeah, I tried, but it didn't work so far. But for now it works. So look, on the left, you can write down the date, then the amount of minutes, then you can tick the box if you've read, right? And and then here it automatically calculates it. And then you can see your total amount of hours here per month, per year, everything. So I'm going to give it to you and I hope you use it. And then what I'm trying to accomplish is that I'm going to give it to everyone that I know. And then you can join the community and we can share you can share your progress there. So you can like screenshot this and then put it in the community and show everyone how you are doing.
Perfect.
Is that cool for you as it sounds for me or no?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, I hope it will work. I'd like to get it going, invite everyone I know. And then whoever wants to follow like paid courses, they can do it. But if you don't, then I'm also very happy if you just use this method. I'm already super happy, right? So that is the time tracker. And then what do you need? So you know where you are, where you're going, how long it will take to get you there. So now let's start packing, right? The supplies. Let's start packing. And don't forget the basic idea. I already told you in the masterclass, but I wrote it here again. So You consume a piece of content until you understand it. You move on to more challenging content. You reach your desired level after X amount of hours. And then what I did in the system of the masterclass is I added speaking, right? So here I added speaking because that will make it much more enjoyable. You'll remember words much faster and you'll get to your main goal quicker because you want to speak, most of you, right? So you don't have to speak to make your Dutch better, but it will make it better. It will make it better faster, your speaking skill. So this is theory. We don't have to do it because we already did it. So there's a resource map. And I try to pack light, okay? So we are packing light. So I try to write down like the minimum that you need. Of course, there's so much stuff out there that you can use. But I don't want to like put it all in here and then you have to find out when to use what, right? So I try to really use like an order that you can follow if you want. Or if you don't want to follow it for 100%, please follow it for 80%. Number one is, of course, New in Rotterdam, right? And this soap series on YouTube. That will get you from 0 to A2. Especially if you do stuff with it, like speaking. Then from A2 to B1, you're not only consuming content for Dutch learners, but you move to content for people who have trouble reading and writing. This is the amount of time you need to do it, right? I put in here the second book that is coming soon. These are the videos that you can watch. And I calculated the hours, right? So the amount of hours doing this will be this.
Okay.
Right? If you watch it more than once, if you listen to it more than once. So it is the second book and then 100 videos of easy Dutch. And then this book by Ollie Richards. Do you know it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm hungry.
nice.
I need a lumpia.
And
Yeah,
how
the
do you like
characters
it?
are stupid and the stories are ridiculous.
Yes. And how do you find it, Murat? Do you find it somewhat interesting or not really?
I'm persevering with it, but the learning is great. The actual stories themselves are terrible. Who falls asleep on a bus in Amsterdam and wakes up in Maastricht? It doesn't happen.
Right. I know, yes. I that's why I'm working on the second and also the third book. But for now, it's really the best resource I can find.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because there is other stuff out there, like other short stories, but they are even worse. And there's also some other books that I think the stories are better, but they don't have an audio book. So this one, that's why I made this choice, knowing that it's not perfect. But for the roadmap, I think it's perfect at this point in your timeline, you know?
Well, it kind of works because you said speak about the story, and I'm going, you would not believe how stupid this story was. This person, so I talk about them all the time. And
Yeah.
how ridiculous they are.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and then watching videos from NOS Journaal in makkelijke taal. So that's the news. And that will bring you, especially if you do this actively, it will bring you to the beginnings of B1. And there it starts to get bigger. So look, you see here, it's only 2 resources. Here it's 3 or 4 resources even. So we go from 2 to 4. So here is a whole big list, you see? So I had to separate the book from the audiobook here because I couldn't find enough books with audiobook. So there's a podcast, there's a book, there's more videos of the news, right? At this level, I think you should be watching the news every day. And then another podcast that I think is great Then Anne Frank. So I also put books in here, by the way, that are about the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's many more books about other stuff, but I chose specifically also culturally appropriate books.
Mhm.
And then here you can watch your first series, you see? So Netflixing is part of the roadmap of the simple system. And then here, look what I did. I wrote, find a podcast for native Dutch speakers about something you like. And I've been thinking about this for a long time because I could have put here a podcast that I like, for example, in B2 Dutch. But the thing at this level is that now you understand all the basic stuff quite easily. All of this, right? So now it makes sense to listen to something that you already know something about. For example, if you enjoy history, that you find a podcast about Dutch history and you start listening to it. And the same goes for non-fiction book. So I recommend here, this is non-fiction. I should put that more clearly here, maybe. But it's non-fiction.
And why actually?
Why? Let me do a real teacher move. Who thinks he knows why?
A friend of mine is learning French and reading Harry Potter, but there are so many words in there that are made up, that are things that aren't real, that it's not words that you would ever really use. So I'd looked at Harry Potter in Dutch, but again, there are so many words in it that you wouldn't use in everyday language, so it was less helpful.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah. So in literature, like fiction, you find all sorts of words like that are even made up or words that you would never need.
Okay.
And my favorite example is always that when I was learning Spanish, I didn't know this stuff, and I was reading a children's book from my girlfriend, like her a girl's book for like girls from 10 or 11 years old. And it was about a girl that was combing her hair, and she saw a rainbow, and she wanted to try and fly with her wings to the rainbow. So with my A1 level, I learned the words for comb and glitter and makeup and rainbow and wings. And that's very very unnecessary. And in the end, maybe when you get to the C1 level, you need to learn those words anyway, right? So you might think, well, I need to learn them anyway. But the thing is, you'll forget them because you'll see them once and then never encounter them again, right? Because you're reading so slow, it will take you 1 year to see the word wing again, and then you'll need to look it up again.
Yeah, okay, makes sense actually.
Max, can
Yeah,
I ask a question?
Yes.
In how you're using these resources. So the Bart de Pauw Hebuzin, I watch that every day, but I
Nice.
don't do his I don't do his grammar lessons. I just watch the videos.
Perfect.
And with the short stories, I read the same chapter again and again and again until I really understand it. Should I just carry on reading, or is the repeating helpful?
Yes. So both
Yes,
are true. Yeah.
Yes, I should keep reading, or yes, I should keep repeating.
Yeah. So both will work. And what I recommend is actually the thing you enjoy most.
Okay.
Yeah. Because both will work. Of course, when you read it multiple times, you will learn more words from the same book. But if you keep going, you'll also learn most of them because the words in the stories are already repeated from Ollie Richards. The thing is, of course, if you read like without looking at it ever again, you maybe need like a whole extra book, but it won't matter because it's the same time in total, right? So what you're doing, we'll look at it later, is like extensive reading versus intensive reading. And both are very good. But you'll probably find that like doing intensive reading, so looking up words and studying and reading again, there are certain times in the day where you can do that, right? And maybe there's a lot of times that you cannot do that because maybe you're reading in the train or you're reading only for 10 minutes. So then I would say that in general, I would do 80% of extensive reading and then 20% of intensive reading. More or less, yeah. That's a better answer than yes, maybe, right?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, and then this will take you to the end of B2. But probably you need another book. Actually, I should add here one more resource. I'm going to do that before you guys are into the community, to add one more resource. And then here at the C1 level, I didn't write any resources now because here you can read anything. But just actually reading a book, a fiction book in Dutch, is so hard. Most people don't do it. But if you do it, it will bring you to the C1 level. It's as simple as that. And that's how I did it with Spanish. I was B2 already after like 1.5 years because I spent all my time with Spanish, right? And then it took me the last 6 months, so 25% of the time, it took me to get from B2 to C1. And what I did was just reading. And then at the end, I practiced for the exam. So that's what I recommend here, is please consider taking a writing course as well at this level, because the C1 level is academic, so it means you need to be able to write. And then here, yeah, nobody wants to get here, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Whoop. Let's get started. Now you know where you are, where you're going, how long it will take you to get there, and you know how to get there as well. So you'll reach your destination by reading and listening your way to fluency. Start by getting your first resource you need at your level, get it, buy it, whatever. Then read it and use it by speaking. And then subscribe to the free events here in the Natural Dutch Tribe. Like that, you'll stay motivated and inspired.
Thanks for watching. If you want to ask me some questions or make your personal Dutch plan for free, join my school community and I talk to you in there. We'll upload the next part next week, so see you then. Bye-bye.